I would like to do some introduction. Actually, I think product is very important, all right? When we talk about a business and also when we talk about product definitely is a very important um, for to start a business or to expand a business, okay? But only having a product is not enough, right? So that's why product must come with a concept. Product with a concept, then only is a future trend, and also it can really make us our journey to build the business can be even more lasting and also more sustainable with the concept. All right. So today, why Elkan can be so strong and why Elkan product can help so many people, and there is so many testimony. Wow, countless, countless of testimony. All right. So not only because of the product, but I think most important, Elkan is very serious into training, and also Elkan also have this very wonderful concept which Gabriel is going to explain to us. Gabriel is very very good on this MRT concept. Every time after I listen to what he's sharing, wow, it will make me like, I got to be serious to look after myself, and then I got to be more serious on this product, that product, you know. So Gabriel is very, very good, and he also attractive by this concept. 23 years ago, when I come in, he is not agree and he is not support, right? But because of the product and the concept have made my health to be improved and also recover. I can say it's not only improve, it recover most of the illnesses I am having. So this make him to have the curiosity to go and study what is Elkan product, and also when he study about the concept, he really fall in love, and this is how he come in. Okay, so today I would like to let my hero to take over to let you understand more on this Elkan health concept. It's called molecular reform therapy. Yes.
Yep. Thank you so much for coming in so early. So this molecular reform therapy, as we shall see, came upon through the US Congress, but we take it one step at a time. We will take a look and see that a lot of us are in a semi-healthy state. In fact, we can say it's 99.9%. But if that kind of a situation persists, right, it's a matter of time before we get into a chronic disease situation. Health do not come about, or the other way around. Unhealthy state do not come about because of an overnight or week or year down the road, but it's a cumulative thing over a period of time. It could be 5, 10 years, just like smoking. Well, smoking for a day, for 2 days, for a week, for a year, nothing much. But when someone has smoked it for 10, 20 years, well, you know, the cumulative effect comes upon that. So we can see from here the various chronic illnesses, heart disease, inflammation of the lungs. And on the left-hand side where the heart disease, it says the symptoms are cold hands and feet, shortness of breath. Particularly, you know, our parents, should they still be alive, a lot of them are fairly old, like maybe even 70 plus, 80 years old. And some of them, the movement are not good because they have more than just some heart disease. It's a matter of which degree, you know. Some are not so acute, and therefore they also have joint pains. Mobility is also impaired. But we will notice the elderly who are not so healthy, generally when they wake up or when they wake up, they have very cold hands and feet, limbs. And at the same time, they will find a tingling sensation. It's like ants biting, you know, the fingers and the feet and all that. So these are signs. And diabetes, of course, gastritis, bloated stomach, a lot of people who have a lot of wind, so stroke, hypertension, high cholesterol. But these sort of things didn't just happen now, but it's also many years back, decades back. It's just that now it's more prevalent, and it's getting, instead of being old people's disease, it has traversed down to people even 30s and in the late 20s. So the younger generation are now experiencing this. Primarily, as we should see, is the environment. So are drugs, right, effective against semi-healthy symptoms? But drugs, if I have a headache, well, I take a Panadol or aspirin, whatever, and well, it will take the pain away, but it does not go into the underlying cause, right? So it doesn't treat the root cause. In other words, it's almost like having my gardener coming to mow the lawn, you know, every 2 weeks or every month, but they did not take away all the roots from of the grass, and therefore it will recur. In other words, the plants or the grass will grow and it becomes long again. So who else would be your good doctor other than drugs? In other words, the real doctor is in fact our own body defense system. Okay, so in today's situation, it is most important in view of the COVID-19, if our defense system is strong, well, we will still be probably in contact with the virus, but our defense system is strong enough, right, to overcome the invasion. So our body defense system can be enhanced via our daily diet. And in fact, a lot of people do not realize that the 3 meals, 2 meals or 4 meals a day that we take in, it is actually for the nutritional part. It is not just to fill our empty stomach, our craving, whatever, but more important is for the nutrition, the balanced nutrition, the nutrition that we need on the daily basis, because our body can only produce certain nutrients, but not everything. So when we take a look at it, the modern concept, medicine concept, right, medical therapy versus the holistic concept, where we have the natural therapy. The first concept, right, when they will go into for the medical therapy is the treatment, whereas the natural therapy, we will talk about maintenance, prevention, and treatment, depending on which category we have fallen in. If we have fallen ill, we will go into the treatment, but in a holistic manner. So diagnosis of symptoms is the target tool, but then natural therapy, we search for the root cause. What actually, right, causes the illness, in other words. And then, while the medical therapy eliminate pathogens and suppress the symptoms because they don't want the fever to go sky high, and that might knock part of our brains off, and then we will be in a semi kind of a paralysis state. So what the natural therapy does is to nourish and repair, but it's also important, right, to keep the fever at bay, in check, in other words. And the treatment, right, period would be for the medical, so after the onset of illness and or disease, so then the treatment comes in. But what natural therapy do, right, it is before, we do prevention, and after as well, because we will go into the nourishment of the cells to get the body back into a fighting spirit, to a fighting fit to overcome the illness. Whereas when they use the drugs for the medical therapy, it is actually to put the body at rest, and also not, right, to compound the issue. Hopefully the resting period, the body would come back to be on a better level to fight the disease. Treatment, of course, medical will be medicine, whereas the natural therapy, we talk about nutritious food, right, plus adequate oxygen and good pure water. And of course, the results, problems may recur, and side effects of medication may arise because these are drugs by itself, right? Generally has been tested to do minimal damage or side effect if there's any, but no long term. But we never know because there will always be that probability, no matter how small. And combination of drugs, we never know what can really happen. And when for natural therapy, when the cell is nourished, the organ can function better. It goes better and better as the day goes by to optimal level, leading to overall better health. And so this is a long time ago, back in 1975, right? The US Congress, right, set up a special committee of nutrients investigation to look into the problems associated with human nutrition. It took 2 years, right? 2 years long to go into this intensive study and came out with a 5,000-page report. Right. So what they talk about is because of imbalanced nutrient intake leading to imbalanced metabolism. So what we call abnormal cell metabolism, and that leads to chronic disease. So they will also conclude that therefore ensuring adequate cell nutrition and metabolism are the most, the most comprehensive treatment. Hi Fazil, thank you. Can't just come in, we just started. Most comprehensive kind of treatment on a natural basis. So it is important that the 3 meals that we take in is nourishing, enough or adequate nourishment for our body. Unfortunately, in today's world, a lot of the food that we take in are denuded, and therefore they are not in an optimal situation where they can provide us with the nutrition, and therefore we have to go into supplementation. So the molecular reform therapy, right, comes about. So when Dr. Linus Pauling, who is a 2-time Nobel Prize winner, says, predicted the molecular reform therapy will be the mainstream of medical research in the 21st century, which we are now, because at that time he was way back in the 50s and the 60s. So he was more or less quite futuristic with his prediction, because that's many decades down the road. So human health begins from the body cells. Now, if you look on the left-hand side, right? So when the body is ill at the bottom, the disease, right, meaning is ill, it means the system is not functioning systematically. And then we go down further, it is because of the organs, one or more disjointed in terms of functioning. And then we look carefully into it, it's actually the tissues of those organs. And we look more carefully into it, it's the cells of those organs or the tissues, okay? So in other words, when a person is ill, it is actually, we go way down to the root cause, meaning to the cell. So if the cells are healthy, the collection of cells will make up the tissue, and therefore the tissues are healthy, and collection of tissues makes up the different organs, and therefore the organs are healthy. So this collection of organs, like our eyes, our nose, our heart, our liver, and so forth, they combine together and make up our system, right? And we have many other systems, right? We have the endocrine system and so forth, digestive system, and all these systems combined makes up what we are, our body and that's us, okay? So there are 6 factors that can lead to unhealthy cells, because cell is the basic building block, in other words, right? So it is caused by imbalanced diet, as I've just mentioned earlier. It is because the food has not as nutritious, or we don't get the full range of nutrients. We have to eat so many different kinds of fruits and meats every day. which is a rather impossibility. And the air pollution doesn't help. And we can see, right, in this current situation of COVID-19, how the air has repaired itself, how the environment has repaired itself. The rivers are so much cleaner, not only our Klang River, but also I heard that the Ganges River in India is also so much cleaner. And in certain parts where the Himalayas are about 400 kilometers away, now they can see, right, the peak, the mountains of the Himalayas, which for many decades they couldn't see it because of the air pollution. So, and of course, well, water pollution, as we have mentioned, the rivers are all polluted. So the intake into the reservoirs are polluted one way or another. And well, modern lifestyle, of course, the daily stress, the work stress, when we have no job stress, and so forth. And also because we are no more farmers, herders of animals, and therefore we don't exercise as much. We only push pens, and now we don't even want to push pens because we have this modern era of the digital age where we only use our fingers and sit for umpteen hours on a day. And so we can see also, right, unhealthy lifestyle, because with the conferencing with US at different times, when we should be sleeping, we are not. When we should be resting, we are not. So all these 6 things, 6 factors, really will take a toll on our body. So what on the right-hand side, we can see that if we take the 4 molecular reform therapy steps, right, which is we must have daily adequate balanced nutrition intake, sufficient oxygen intake, detoxification, and health regulation. Where we have certain issues with our body, we will then look into it and have additional supplementation to increase the cure, to take our body, that particular area, to a higher level of health. So this really would be the antithesis of this on the left-hand side, right? Balanced nutrition where they have imbalanced nutrition and so forth. And then we have a look to say, to achieve a healthy body, we start from our body cells. And so this is the kind of diet that we are now having. Even though it is not on a daily basis, it could even be 70, 80% of our diet. In fact, a lot of the young people, the millennials, even adolescents, and even children, right? They love this sort of thing, right? Deep fried things. You can see from here, children, right? The deep fried, the what you call that? Fizzy drink, the burgers, and all the sweets and all that. And for ladies and men, it's no different. So we are really not giving our body the nutritional intake that we should have. So 99% of the population actually will suffer from imbalanced nutrient consumption. Now, if you take a burger or a fizzy drink on an occasional basis, it doesn't really matter. Life goes on, and we need to enjoy the journey, but not like a daily kind of an intake of this nature, which I think does very bad for us. Okay, so the body needs more than 60 types of nutrients, and on a daily basis. And more important is the 60 types of essential nutrients. Essential here, actually English is a terrible thing. Everything is essential. All the nutritional items here mentioned are essential. But here the essential, it means our body do not manufacture it. Therefore, it is extra essential, in other words, okay? So when we look at the protein, right, the first 8 here are called essential amino acids. There are about 22 different types of amino acids. Our body can manufacture out of the 8, that means we can manufacture the balance 22, so you have 8, so you can manufacture 14. If we miss out on the 14, which are not so-called non-essential amino acids, our body can manufacture it. But if we miss out on the 8 essential amino acids, our body cannot manufacture that. We need to take it from the outside. Therefore, when it is missing, right, a day or so, it's okay. But it's on a daily basis, that's where the chronic illnesses comes in. Okay, I'll explain in a short while. So with the vitamins, it's the same. The vitamin C, our body cannot manufacture that, plus a few other things. So we need to have a daily intake of that. So I always tell people that, right, if we want to bake a cake or even a loaf of bread, okay, we must have the right ingredients, the flour, the yeast, the water, whatever it is. But if we miss out on one ingredient, well, if supposing we miss out on the yeast, it will still come out like a bread, except that it hasn't expanded, right? What will happen? It will be a very hard bread. It has not, what do you call that? The yeast, right, will raise the flour, the dough, but it hasn't happened. But it will still be a bread, but it's not the right bread. So in a similar manner, our cells will be manufactured. In spite of the fact we still miss out on a few of the proteins, the minerals, and or the vitamins, or the fats, the cells will not be healthy. So you can just imagine 5, 10, 20 years down the road, right? As more billions of cells dies every day, billions are manufactured, and they are being replaced with cells that are not as healthy as before. In the time to come, they will replace the majority of the cells, and therefore our body then will be in a very unhealthy state. Therefore, if we were to nourish our body every day, so what will happen is the other way of going about it. Now, every day, billions of cells will die, billions of cells will be, the dead cells will be replaced with more and more healthy cells. Therefore, our body will, as the days goes by, we will become more and more healthy. So, alkaline spirulina, right, gives us 60 nutrients for basic needs of body cells. And it has a lot of uniqueness. So when we saw this, right, it will give us, right, 18 of 22 amino acids, including the 8 essential amino acids, about 18 to 20 of the minerals and all the vitamins, plus the natural pigments, some trace minerals, and so forth. So it is rather complete in that sense, right? So when we have the 8 essential amino acids, it is known as complete protein because the balance can be manufactured by our body. If we take in as complete as possible in terms of those that our body can manufacture, we also take it in from the outside. You can just imagine the body has limited energy per day. If we use less energy to manufacture all the missing nutrients that we did not take in orally, then we will have more energy to do repair and other things. Because in a single, after we rested in the night, we will only have that amount of energy. So we will have more energy, we can do more things, we will be more productive, in other words. So the uniqueness is we have a prestigious record. You can see from here, right, the local and international accolades, right? And this is one of them, JHFA, Japanese Health Food Association, and they are very, very strict. I come to understand that they are even more strict than the FDA, and every 2 years, right, we will still need, right, to be audited by JHFA. And so far, from day one that we are registered with JHFA, they have never rescinded, right, the certification. So they are very, very strict. So it is also certified organic, which are rather rare. I can't say about other brands in the market. Then we are also 100% pure because ours is not only organic but 100% pure because we don't put in additives to hold in deep freeze-dried spirulina powder, right? So we have renowned founders. We will go into all these different products on the product talk. Okay, this is just to let you know that we have not only nutritional products, but also, right, people other than ourselves saying it's good, many international accolades to say it is good. So we also have 12 analysis and scientific and clinical studies to say that. Then the EPA and the DHA will also improve our heart health because the heart is the most important organ that goes, everything goes coupled as well. So it will also help us to reduce cholesterol, improve the blood viscosity. So it will also lap up the LDL so that we have a better cholesterol, good cholesterol, the HDL. And the uniqueness is, I always emphasize on this, outside over the counter, right? Some of the products are, well, cheaper in terms of bringing, but we must look at the way our things are produced. So this is one of them. It is through double molecular distillation technology. A lot of us may not understand, right? Why they are so cheap, it is because they use cold press. In other words, right, they will have a cylinder with a filter at the other end, and they have this plunger. They press the oil, fish oil, through the barrel and out after the filter, right, which they just is. That's why it's called cold press. The filter, the pore size are very big. And we all know, right, this kind of fish oil are from the deep sea, and therefore they contain heavy metals as well, most likely, and therefore this will also pass through. But with distillation, right, only the light oil will evaporate, and then it will cool down, and we get, literally pure fish oil. But Elkin Global, Elkin by itself, will do another distillation with that. So it's called double distillation, and therefore we can be rest assured there is no heavy metals or impurities in it. So high quality of standard of USA pharmacopoeia, which you can see from there. So ester C is a patented non-acidic vitamin C. That means when we take it on an empty stomach, it doesn't irritate our stomach. So that's very good vitamin C. Others are very sourish, very acidic, and therefore we will have a burden on the stomach function, whereas our vitamin C will not have a burden. And also vitamin C is important to support our immune functions. And we can also have read some articles in the current time where we have to take vitamin C to help us to fight this virus as well. Vitamin C, remember, our body do not manufacture. And when the body is under stress, right? Stress meaning it is physical stress, mental stress, or even our body is in distress. That means we are ill. That's a different form of stress. All this stress will make our body use up more vitamin C. So when we are not so well, we should take a little bit more ester C than usual. So the uniqueness is it is 4 times more effective through 2 times better absorption rate and 2 times better retention rate. So it is much better than what we can buy from over the counter. And of course, one of the other big things is whatever we take in, right, we will not have sufficient minerals. So this Kington comes into play. We will have 83 or more minerals, and the uniqueness is most identical to the human blood plasma. In fact, the First World War and Second World War, when they don't have enough plasma, they use this to sustain the human being until they pull through. So it is founded by Rene, well, it's a Frenchman, it's pronounced as Kington, but the British will call it Quinton, well, we call it Quinton. So by Rene Quinton, more than 100 years ago. In fact, he has used this to cure a lot of diseases. And 100 years ago, 100 or more years ago, they have not discovered drugs yet, like penicillin and all that. So they use this, right, for people who suffers from a lot of ailments, and they did come through. And they have more than 2,000 scientific and clinical studies. So what does this do? It balances the internal terrain for cellular communication and duplication. In fact, it helps when there are two cells, right? In between the cells, there is what we call intercellular fluid. And this is what happens when if it dries up, the two cells cannot communicate. But this Kington, when we take it in, it will help us to still have that. And the cells can communicate and pass on messages. And Kington mineral is a high concentration for central nervous system function and also for our energy level. So these two are good. In fact, any one of them will be good, sufficient for us. And at the same time, we can also see that pollution and stress aggravate oxygen deficiency. And nearly 90% of modern people suffer from syndrome of chronic hypoxia, meaning they don't have sufficient oxygen. And that would result, right, in a lot of not at optimum level. So this is interesting because 10,000 years ago, right? Yeah.
Gabriel, you go
Sorry?
back to Kington side, Kington.
I mean,
Kington, the product. Just now you were talking about Kington.
hmm.
This one, right? Any one of you here have not tried Kington yet? Has everyone here tried Kington?
Yes.
Oh, Paddy, you have tried Kington.
Yes, I finished a lot actually.
Oh, you finished already. Good. Faisal?
Not finished, but I had a lot.
Oh, but you had a lot. A lot means by every day one?
Yes.
Morning, you take morning?
No, at night.
At night. This one have to be on empty stomach, right?
Most of our products should be on empty stomach, primarily because, you see, if we have after food, the first lot of food that we take, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, that goes through first. So when, you know, along the intestines inside, so there is a receptor. Once they get attached to the food molecule or nutrition molecule, that cannot take in another molecule. And therefore, when we take in our product, right, that may just pass along the intestines and goes out the other end. And it's a waste. So we try to take it on empty stomach, if possible, to maximize the effect, that's all. If you take it on empty stomach after food, it doesn't really matter. It's just that we want to have optimum result. That's why we recommend on empty stomach. It's not a drug. Drug have, sometimes if it's supposed to be taken after food, but we take it before food, it can have adverse reaction because it may irritate the stomach, or we may have adverse reaction, vomiting and all that. This one doesn't have any of that. It's just that we want to have a better efficacy in terms of the absorption. Absorb the one first, because that's what we really need. Then we take in the food, because the food is mostly denuded anyway. You have this, you have that, but it's not complete. But when we take in this, it has 83 or more minerals, and therefore it will be a waste. Some are absorbed, some are not. That's the only reason. Okay?
This
So
one, right, I have some friends that they call this Kington, not Kington, this mineral water, they call it miracle water. In the market, some of them call it, it's like the replacement of our blood, you know, it cleanses our bloodstream. So it's like almost like if you have dengue, you can actually take dose up of this because dengue, you got dehydration, it helps. If you have heaty body, toxic body, bloodstream, whatever, this is like almost like a replacement of cleansing of our body, because that's why it's called your balanced internal terrain. So I've also learned the last 4 months, because I started taking this, I've heard President Gabriel been pitching quite a lot of times and shared some story about this. So I've learned a bit also that the first part is here, they say nutrients, right? The first thing in any nutrition product that we want to take, the best product to kick off is actually this, besides Sino X that I've learned recently, because this one will actually help us to balance back our body system and helps better absorption. Once we cleanse, then we start taking vitamin C or any other nutritious product in, it absorbs better, because this is almost like side by side our bloodstream. Bloodstream is like the widest network in our whole body besides water, and this is a natural miracle water that we drink. Like even President Gabriel said just now, penicillins have not even come before this. So there's also a story that Gabriel didn't share. I don't know, I remember he was sharing this when he was sharing with Dr. Faisal. This one about the patency or whatever. You said that how pharmaceutical company and this product, you want to share a bit? That story I found very interesting. But
well, what happens was because this Renee Kington, right, is actually a very generous person. He really believes in giving. So he uses this to cure a lot of illnesses. He's done experiments with that. And the French government was in line with him. And the French government uses this product and also told the doctors, right, you can dispense this and the government will foot the bill, which means that they can claim back the money from the government. And the big drugs company found, right, hey, these people are getting cured, you know, they don't need drugs, you know, we're going to go broke, which is true, okay? And therefore they need to do something to make this product, they're very good. They don't go head on with this. Someone wanted to come in. They don't go head on with this Renee Kington. They went through the legislation, meaning, right, if they were to be dispensed by the doctors, they need to do heat treatment and or X-ray, that sort of thing. Because this was in the pharmacopoeia of the French doctors. So that, which means the doctor have that book. It's like a Bible where they can dispense as medicine. And it cured so many people. In fact, unfortunately, it was all written in French, but the speaker who came from the US was very good. And he said, Renee Kington, right, says this product is very good for expectant mothers because wrong development will come because of lack of mineral. So we will find people with cleft lips. At one stage, back in the 50s, there were a lot of children with cleft lips. That's because of the mother not taking in sufficient minerals, but those days were poor days. And a lot of other deformed babies and all that. So he says, it can't be. It must be due to nutrition. So he will bring in ladies, and that's going back into the very early 1900s, 1902, 1905, that sort of area, where this female gives birth to a deformed child, first time, second time, even third time. Then he says, look, if it is hereditary, I bring this lady home, I give her enough this Kington before pregnancy, during pregnancy, right? And we will check whether the child will be deformed or not. And sure enough, the next child that came out, there was no deformation. It was just like a bouncing baby and all that. That proves to him, this Kington, that expectant mother should be taking that, should be taking this. Then there's another doctor who wrote a 600-page book, and he also discovered, right, autistic children lacking, I can't remember what it lacks, I've got to recall that. But when they take Kington, the chances of the child getting or being autistic it's not there. Personally, I found that some of the friends Joanne and I had, the child was autistic and very high energy. They would jump here, throw things there and all that. They just couldn't control themselves, poor child. But when they're taken out of Kington, they mellowed down. They are not that destructive, so to say. So it is a fantastic product. I also have a testimony on this myself, but I would rather go on because we will get to this in specific product by product over the next few weeks. Okay? Okay? Because otherwise we could be here the whole day. Huh? Okay? Now, okay, I think I've covered this. Okay, we were talking about this, okay? So now you can see, right, our air, our water, right? Nature has rejuvenated the whole environment. The air is so much cleaner now. It's just unfortunately we can't go jogging and all that because of the MCO, right? So now, right, in the urban areas, likely to be this, 15% oxygen. But in the countryside, 21%. And I think today in the city is also 21%. The nature, Mother Nature has rejuvenated itself. But in the old days, right, 38%. And that's why whenever I go back to my hometown Taiping, we will climb the Taiping Hills, Maxwell Hills, by the jungle track. And honestly, I cannot feel myself being refreshed on the way after my trek, 1.5 hours up and down. So that was because we are in the green environment where we also have a lot of negative ions, which is very rejuvenating. And we also know that human cannot survive with 7% or less oxygen count in the air. Then we need also this oxygen. We can also do kwasa with this superb rosa oil, which is a formulation. And this is imported from England. And we also know about that. And then I think we have testimonies of people able to sleep well. And the blood circulation is also better. When the blood circulation is better, you carry oxygen better to all the different parts of the body, in particular our cells. And so we have these major detoxification organs in the different times of the day. The skin, of course, detox 24 hours a day. The liver, in particular, we have maximum function from 12 to 3. It doesn't mean it doesn't have a function in this quadrant, but it still has. It's just that the lungs will then predominate at 3 to 5 a.m. and the kidney and the colon predominates at 5 to 7 a.m. Right? So it is important we have sufficient rest. If we can rest before 11, that would be best. But unfortunately, our modern era is such that we normally sleep in different times than what that says. So,
Gabriel, what does it mean when our organs secretes all the toxic during those time?
Oh,
when they say this timing, they secrete
the liver, right? Take this 12 to 3 a.m. This will be at optimal function at this time, the liver.
Oh, okay.
At these other times, it is this predominate, the lung predominate. But this is still functioning because if other times our liver don't function, then we die. Right? So what it says is this predominates in this quadrant. The lungs predominate at this quadrant, kidney and the colon predominate at this quadrant. So that's why when we wake up, chances are we will go to do the big business here because at 7 a.m. Okay, the colon will start, all the thing will be at the doorstep there, ready to come out. Okay, okay. So scientists believe that 90% of health problems and diseases are related to the accumulation of toxins and waste matter in the colon. So we are like a walking rubbish bin, right? Which is true because if we don't take care of our health, or if we sleep at the wrong time and all that, our colon is not functioning optimally. And it is common that an average healthy adult has 3 to 5 kg of stubborn stools we call copper stasis in the colon. And that's why when we detox, right, that day I also detox. What happened was actually I had a similar experience like Datin Jeanette. I haven't done a proper detox for a long time, but I do go every day. The first day, nothing came out. The second day, nothing came out. The third day, all hell break loose, and that was great. So it varies from person to person. It doesn't mean we are, well, because I go every day doesn't mean when I take it immediately, you know, the things will be cleaning. It just doesn't happen. So 3 to 5 kg is a lot. So a lot of people who have gone through our cleansing, they found that the waistline also decreased because the rubbish did come out. So if you look at these pictures here, right, we should look at this on Saturday. Then we can have a good time drinking and eating, right? So you look at that, right? The anal fissure, where that, then coprostatic stools, that this is inside the intestine, hemorrhoids and also diverticulitis. And then this is not pounds, this is IBS, not our IBS. This is irritable bowel syndrome, right? So a lot of people, after they're taking some food, they find, oh yeah, they do queasy, so to say, right? And then some of them have a lot of wind and so forth. Well, God forbid, the polyps later on will lead to colon cancer. So start to detoxify the toxins in the body, which is the dirtiest organ, because that is the rubbish bin, which is the colon. Ours is safest because we don't put or introduce any foreign object into it. And if people introduce foreign objects where they do, what you call that, colon cleansing, what's the term for that? Just cannot remember the term, you know, they insert something and they put water in or salt water in or coffee in. And sometimes if they were to do it wrongly, they could burst the colon, and that's rather dangerous. So ours one is natural, as we can see it later on. Here is the lactose. This does not contain any good bacteria. So it's just soy powder, lactose. It will remove your stubborn stools. It will restore our intestinal floral balance and regulate our bowel movement. So as we said, when it starts to regulate our bowel movement, it varies from person to person, and it is all made from natural ingredients to maintain health. I would rather go for the next one, which is the lactose S, because it contains a lot, as I understand, 1 billion good bacteria. So it will make our gut alive again, swiftly replenish good bacteria in the gut because it introduces good bacteria to kill the bad bacteria, and strong bowel movement to remove large coprostasis. In fact, on the third day when the things came through, there was such a big relief. But it doesn't mean the first 2 days I didn't go to the toilet when I took this. It doesn't mean it's not detoxing. It is. It's just that there's so much rubbish, take a longer time to get through, and we must take it. This one we definitely have to take it on an empty stomach, and drink 300 cc's of water every 30-40 minutes, because we need a lot of water to help us to wash those things. So we also have probiotic introduced in this per sachet, create a balanced gut environment, and the lactose to stimulate the bowel movement. It's best that after taking it, if we can go around the block where we stay to take a walk, because when we walk, we also helps in the perithalsis movement and helps this lactose to have a better effect. Then health regulation. It depends on what our body. Some of us have certain issues, and therefore we need to regulate that back on. So a healthy internal organ is like equivalent to a well-maintained engine. So the question is, we do service our car on a regular basis. Every 10,000, give or take, we will definitely put it into the workshop, change the oil, maybe the filter and this and that. But did we do any service to our body system on a regular basis? This is a good question, isn't it? Because none of us ever thought about it until we are really in poor health. Now, there are 10 organ systems in the human body: digestive, circulatory, excretory, immune, endocrine, respiratory, musculo, skeletal, central nervous, reproductive. Actually, that's 9 because it breaks into male or female, right? All this system. If anything is wrong, like our circulatory system is not so good, then we will need to take certain product to go with that, okay? Or our digestive system is not good, to see what product we should be taking to help us to remedy that. So let's go into it. So this is more colorful and also explanatory. So for circulatory system, where it says the nitric oxide helps maintain the elasticity of the blood vessels, regulate blood pressure, and thus promoting a healthy heart. So you can see here, this is an indication it is what we call leaf extract. For the immune system, right, the immunoglobulin in the product helps a lot, which is this LG6. Okay, the digestive system is the enzyme, because enzyme promoter to revitalize the enzyme, promote digestion, absorption, and food metabolism effectively. And the excretory system, of course, that's the lactose. Endocrine system against the enzyme. Right? When the endocrine system is upset, then we will exhibit male, female kind of characteristics. In fact, they have found in the estuaries, because there is so much drugs that's going down from the rivers, right? People have been polluting the river so much. And in the estuaries, the water flow slows down because it starts to spread out into like a triangle. And a lot of these drugs start to settle down before it gets into the sea. A lot of the mussels, the clams, the prawns, and as well as the seafood in the mangrove area, like crabs and all that, they found the smaller creatures, right? The small fish, the clams, they exhibit male, female organs. So it is important that we have the endocrine system right. So reproductive system, of course, for the female, they take the LD. For the productive, for the male, they take the Superman thing, the I just can't remember the name. Palace Prime. Superman takes that, right? So muscular.
Paddy is taking, is it? Paddy and Isaac.
No, Langkawi.
But
anyway,
it tastes nice, so I drink it.
But it's good.
The taste is good. Yeah,
is
actually.
It hippie, Gabriel is LD Venus and Palace Prime hippie, no?
Yeah. It depends on your system. Actually, a lot of our things is heaty in the sense because it is helping us to come back up, and therefore it will produce a bit more heat. But we should drink more water. That's all. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, actually, I just wanted to show you this book I am reading. Actually, this thing is called Neuroimmunity. It's a very nice book. Actually, it's one of the best sellers. It was just lying here on my table, so I am showing this one. Okay. This one is from 2 doctors from Israel, and they basically researched on the effect of your immune system on your brain health.
Yeah.
So it's called the gut-brain axis, basically.
Yeah.
It's a very latest cutting-edge research, basically, and they are showing how your immune system and gut health is actually impacting your brain health. So it actually helps reduce Alzheimer's and other those kind of brain issues, actually. So it's a very very rigorous one. This published by Yale University Press. Yeah. It's a bit academic, but it's also interesting. It's very interesting research.
yeah, for a lot of laymen, right? So when we talk about that, we don't go so deeply into the system and all that. So we need that to impress upon them that they need to take certain basic thing, which I will come at the end of it. I will tell you guys what it is. So for the musculoskeletal thing, you will need to take the
Helmax,
helmet,
Celljoy,
helmet,
Helmax, Celljoy, and
as well.
EPA, I think.
Then respiratory is very good.
Live extra young.
Live plasma and also this live extra young. Central nervous system would be our deep sea fish oil as well as the other things as well. Now, so we come on to the enzyme. In fact, oxygen is not the most important thing, as I also was made to understand. If we don't have enzyme in our body, we die straight away. Oxygen, we can still live for so many minutes because enzyme is the most important thing. It converts from one energy form to the next energy form and back when we want it. So as there are 3,000 over types of enzymes in our body, but as we age, some of these minor factories start to shut down and we get less and less. So this energy, right, the uniqueness is 65 types of botanical ingredients, organic, complete fermentation of 1,200 days, 3 years, 3 months, using proprietary selection of 15 probiotics and 3 prebiotics. Not only that, okay, it is also done in fermented under low temperatures. So all the enzymes are still good, it's kept well. So what it does is an enzyme booster, revitalizer. In other, some of our factories are shutting down or shut down. They reactivate that. Besides giving us the enzymes, it also reactivates the production of enzymes in our body. So as we said, right, it is an investment in our health. Now, all these products that we're going to take is an investment. And when we book this business, of course, we make some money out of it, whether we make it big or small. It helps us to subsidize our taking of the product. It depending on what we need. We can take more if we can afford it, less if we cannot afford it so well. So this Live Extra Young is a tri-action blood flow solution. A lot of you have tried it, and in particular, when we have the live blood analysis, when we take that, right, it produces nitric oxide. The professor who came, the Nobel Prize winner professor who came a number of times, said the morning and the night, our body naturally produce nitric oxide. So the blood vessels will expand, and because of the nitric oxide, and then the blood flow will be better, and helps us to maintain the flexibility of blood vessels as well, this product. Then later on, we added this, and now this current product have the tomato aqueous extract, TAE. It helps to maintain normal platelet aggregation. When we have a cut, okay, the blood platelet is not rounded anymore, it's spiky. So that when they come into contact, the spikes attach to each other like Velcro straps, and you can't pull it out. So it forms what we call a clot. If they are not spiky, the blood will flow, keep on flowing, because the cut, there is nothing to stop it from bleeding more blood. Therefore, people who take aspirin or blood thinners, when they go and have, for dentist or to have an operation, they need to stop that for taking the blood thinner for at least a week. Otherwise, they cannot have the surgery, the wound will not heal, in other words. But with this tomato aqueous extract, instead of taking aspirin or other blood thinner, we take this, the blood flow will be better, the platelet will be rounded, but when we get a cut, they will turn spiky. So it's not like the blood thinners, which will keep them rounded and we cannot form a clot. So we also have synergistic vitamins to help to support healthy circulatory system. Then ELG6, immunoglobulin G. Now this is actually extracted from bovine. When the cow gives birth, right, they don't produce any milk, they produce what we call colostrum. So this is extracted from the cow, and this is organic, imported from the USA. So this will contain, right, 30% of IgG. So this IgG actually helps us in our immune system. It fights viruses and bacteria, and is 200% higher than other colostrum. So under the current situation, for those of us who are taking this ELG6, well, that's good because it also helps us to improve our defense system against the bacteria and the viruses, which is so rapidly spreading all over. So this is a natural immune stimulation to fight against viruses and bacteria. Then we also have, to help us even better, we will also have the alpha hex, the mycelium immunomodulator extract, MIME. That's what it means. And it contains alpha glucan, not beta glucan. Beta glucan is 50,000 times bigger than alpha glucan, and therefore this alpha extract, right, is a powerful immune modulator. Extract from a super mushroom will be easily absorbed because of the size. Alpha size is 50,000 times smaller than that. If other people tell us, oh, we also have glucan, yeah, but that's a different thing. There's chances are beta, ours is alpha. And the uniqueness are, right, specially patented MIME ingredient, US patent on 9 main manufacturing process, studied by more than 100 universities worldwide, including Harvard and a few other world-renowned, even Tokyo University, more than 400 clinical studies, more than 400 doctors for the symposium on a yearly basis in Tokyo, and used by more than 700 hospitals and clinics worldwide. So this MIME, immune, right, modulator, mycelium, immune modulator extract. Now, when it says modulator, we must remember, right, a strong immune system is good. But to be overly strong, it has its adverse effects because it will attack back our own cells and our own body system. What we will then fall into what we call the autoimmune category, right? If it is too weak, of course, we know it's definitely not good because the virus and all the bacteria, when we get into contact with it, it will overcome our defense system and we fall sick into whatever and today it will be like the COVID-19, which is not very good to be in a category to be in. So take this and the other products to help our body to strengthen, for the whole family to take it so that we don't fall into that category. So there are only 4 steps, right, for the molecular reform therapy. Right? The first step is balanced nutrition. The second is adequate oxygen intake. The third is to detox ourselves, so as to clean up our system so that we can become more healthy with the 1, 2, and then the 4th will be to regulate back our health depending on what ails us at the current stage. So we make our body the best doctor in the world. In fact, when we improve the nutrition to the cells becomes more healthy, or the organs become more healthy, the system become more healthy, and therefore we are more healthy. So with that, that should give us a good overall view of the system of what we need to do to bring our body to health. Now, I will stop the sharing and then go see whether you guys, you can unmute yourself. If you have any questions, then we will be in a position to discuss.
Yeah, I got a question here. Regarding the Kingston isotonin, You said that we have to take it on empty stomach. When we take it, do we need to drink water together or just take it as it is?
Good question. No, we take it as it is because if we were to take in water after taking in the Kington, we will be washed right through. Remember, right? When we take food in after our meals, we don't take a big bowl of soup or whatever. That just wash it right through the stomach and into the intestine and goes all the way out, which is a waste. So leave that in for the next 15, 20 minutes. You can leave it for half an hour, then you can have your drink. Yeah, good question. Yeah, very good.
Gabriel, guys, I'm so sorry. I have to exit now because I have another Zoom meeting. Actually, supposed to start at 10, but I'm a bit late, half an hour late.
Thank you so much.
I'm supposed to have a Zoom meeting with Paris, but Paris.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You should have.
All right, no problem. No problem. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I exit first.
See you tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other one? Got any other questions?
The chat there got one question on Kington also by Paddy.
The chat doesn't come up.
The chat, your chat, are we using the same vendor as this? That means the Kington, right? Our
Okay, I saw it.
yeah.
Are we using the same vendor as this one? I think so, but I'm not too sure whether we are original because we take it from the only factory that is in Spain. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So I saw it that it's made in Spain, so it's retrieved from some place in Spain. I think it's the original one because the product and the whole thing also looks same. But I don't know officially what is the status.
In fact, some of the people found, right, when they were in Australia, they bought it in Australia, but the name is a different one because it goes by various brands. But then they found that in Australia it was so much more expensive. So when we did it here and launched this Kington, they could quickly buy ours. It's the same thing. And in fact, the previous speaker who came last year also showed some pictures of those tennis stars like Rafael. He also take this in between games, but it's different in terms of packaging and all that. Yeah, because they do different. Also, they call it by a different name. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yes, one more regarding this detoxification. Do we need to take any other products besides lactose? And what's the duration that we need to take this?
With any other products to take together with lactose when we do detox? And what's the duration for detox?
Oh, well, when we take the lactose S, okay, first thing in the morning when I get up, I have a glass of water to get my system up and running, warm water, one or two glasses. Then you can mix the lactose S and drink it. And then for me, right, if you can do some exercise on the spot, like running on the spot or just walking on the spot to help the peristalsis movement in your intestines. And if you're allowed to walk around the garden in the sense of your housing estate, well, don't walk too far, you may have to run back. So do that, right? And in between, every half hour, 40 minutes or so, right, have about 300 or 500 ml of water, warm water if you can, and do that for the next 3 hours or so. No solid food, right? You can have Milo, you can have any hot drinks you want, but when you mix the lactose S with water, the water must be room temperature. Don't go and mix it with hot water because hot water will kill the bacteria, the good bacteria that's in the mixture.
Warm water can?
Warm.
Like like your BioPure water, we then take out is warm water and not.
You can. Yeah, it's not hot. Yeah, warm is only about what? About 30 degrees. That's about there. It's okay.
So,
normally I will take it from the cold side. Yeah, warm will be okay.
so the question was, for this detox under Elkin's program, do we take lactose S only, or do we take with any other product?
No.
Or lactose S is good enough?
After you have your meal, okay, the whole thing stops. Then you take your other products if you want. Not in between, not during when you that 4 hours. No.
So means we take empty stomach, take lactose on empty stomach.
So the next
after
3,
4
4
hours. After 4
yeah,
hours.
you have your meal, whether it's breakfast or lunch or brunch. Then you can take your products after that. Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, it will be just flushed out all the way through it. You can, but it's a waste, isn't it?
Okay. And duration to take this, to do this detox program, recommended 1 week.
Well, 1 week will be great, but if you can't, you can do it on every weekend. If you know, no hard and fast rule. But they found if you do it 7 days, it will give you 50% of the good floral intestine. In other words, there will be good 50% good bacteria, 50% bad bacteria. Under normal circumstances like us, if we have not been introduced to this, chances are it's 80% bad bacteria and 20% good bacteria. So when we take it, right, for 7 days, it will change the floral combination to 50% good, 50% bad bacteria, because that is a rubbish bin area, so it's full of bad bacteria, right? So if we take it for 14 days, it will go to 80% good, 20% bad. That is the optimum level. But no hard and fast rule, depending on where you want to be. Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions?
Don't ask me so hard question. Sleepless night.
Well,
But good information. A lot of people don't understand. In fact, when they took our Kington, they said, yours is just salt water, man. They don't understand. You know, but for people who are really that hard-headed, we leave them. KIV, have a coffee with them and chit-chat, that's it. Until they come around, sometime when they really not that well. Kington, actually, we always must have a box of that in the house. Suppose you get something in the eye and you rub. What you open is, you open one end of the Kington, okay? Clean it a bit, then you twist it the other way. This end don't open, tap it, open, tap it, and then the fluid will get into the eye, and it's better than any eye wash that you can buy over the counter.
The isotonic lah.
Isotonic, yes. The other one you can't do it because you peel off and then everything will fall off. And also it's also too strong. It's also too strong. So in fact, the bodily fluid and the eye, when we cry, the eye, teardrops, our plasma, the pregnant lady, you know how inside the womb there, they have what we call the amniotic fluid and all that. All this, right, when they analyze it, is the composition is very, very close to Kington. We will come into that when we talk about Kington. We can show you, right, the plasma and also the Kington, the what do you call that?
Mineral.
Yeah. No, Kington, just Kington.
Oh.
The composition of how many minerals, how much mineral, potassium, this and that. Very close, very close. And that's why when they use this to sustain soldiers who are wounded, because at that, in the First and Second World War, they found they didn't have enough plasma to sustain the wounded. The wounded army or personnel would die. They used Kington to sustain them. In fact, Rene Kington took an experiment. He extracted all the plasma from the dog, pumped in the equivalent in terms of this Kington into the dog. The dog got up and walked and lived. Rene Kington, when he died in the early 1900s, now that's before the aeroplane was discovered, okay? More than 1 million people attended his funeral. You can just see the impact he had. Now we must go back to the 1910s. Okay? And traveling was a hassle. You can only go by ship. Right? Car wasn't even invented. So you're talking about horses and carriages and all that. Steamship.
Now, the part where I asked you about the story between Kingston and pharmaceutical companies. What happened?
Oh, because
how did we end up having? Is it a patent for Elkin, or is it or what is it?
No. The pharmaceutical company, right? So if that goes on and the French government were to subsidize, a lot of people get well because of taking the Kingston. They will not take drugs, and the drug company will all go bankrupt.
So how did the pharmaceutical company kick him out from hospitals?
Coerce the government directly, indirectly, to legislate that any product, right, given out by the doctor must be heat treated and or X-ray. But the moment you do that, you destroy the minerals inside.
Oh, means anyone who takes Kingston mineral must also do the X-ray and all.
No. The product must be heat treated by the factory.
Oh, so means it end up not effective, lor?
So that destroys it.
Oh.
Then later on, they had a symposium many years later, right? But those days it was injected in, right? So many years later, they found, hey, orally you take it also can. Okay, right? So anything that is injected in those days, they say must be heat treated, X-ray or whatever. So these people have their ways and means. Very interesting, Kingston.
Okay. All right. I guess tonight we can call it the night, because tomorrow we're going to talk about products anyways, so we can have more understanding about each product.
One product at a time.
Yeah, correct.
So to have balanced nutrition, okay, we take either the spirulina or Sino-X. For me, my preference is Sino-X, okay, plus the Kingston, plus the SSC. That's very, very strong base for you. You have all the things you need to keep yourself healthy. But of course, money isn't an issue. Why not take Life Extra as well, right? And then you can take it on alternate days. If you can take it every day, of course, it's best. But if not, alternate days or twice a week. And also the Zenergy, you don't have to take big spoonful. You take a small spoonful, it helps you, right? So people of your age, different from Yap and my age, is you maintain. When you maintain it at this level, it will drop gradually as you age. So you will grow old gracefully. Don't have this dip, right? So let's say you are here. When you have this dip, it will come back up when you take our product, but we will not reach this level. It will reach below the level. Understand? Okay? Then your health already compromised. If you have any major illness. So best to maintain so that you age gracefully. You don't have a big dip. You will come back up, but you won't go as high as before. At least 20% down. So which means you suddenly age quite a fair few years in terms of your, not so much as your calendar years, but your chronological thing. Okay? So age gracefully, like prevention, we will still get the slight cough, the slight sneasel, this and that. Yeah, it's okay. But you will also come out of it faster because your immune system is stronger. So we have found children, Elkin members whose children have been taking, young children have been taking those days with the Elkin spirulina. The whole class, you know, have the flu, this and that, but their children are okay because their immune system is strong. And they grow up very well. Right. Okay.
Okay, so today we wrap up the foundation of understanding what is MRT, because Elkin's health product, everything always we hear the word MRT. So at least today we've learned the MRT concept, which is molecular reform therapy, which has 4 steps to it. So can I test everyone what is the 4 steps before we wrap up? What's the first step? Can you remember? The first step, balance. We must have balance, nutrient. Correct or not?
Correct.
Why everyone muting there?
First step is whiskey.
What's the first step? Balance, nutrient. Second step.
Increase the oxygen intake.
Yes. Third step.
Detoxification.
Good. The fourth step.
Regulation something.
Yes. Wow. The besties.
So recap today, most important, we must remember the 4 steps, and then slowly when we learn the products, we will learn which products will go into which step as we progress.
Yes.
But we always come back to MRT, the foundation and the building blocks of our business model for a healthy body. And when we want to go into later, when we progress next week, we're going to talk a lot about strategies, how to create content, lifestyle content, how to link back to our products. So we really need to understand the foundations of all this, the building blocks and the products that we have. Okay?
Yeah, and also I would like to ask also, what is MRT?
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. I already.
Rapid transport.
What is MRT stands for?
What is
Mass
MRT?
rapid transport.
Molecular regenerative therapy.
Almost there.
The R is wrong.
Repair, molecular repair.
Almost there.
Almost there. Isaac?
Must go back to school.
Mr. Yap,
Let's start over again.
Mr. Yap, what is MRT stands for?
It's molecular reform therapy.
Wow.
Yes.
Besties.
You must know what is MRT, okay? When you go and present and pitch, what's MRT? It's molecular reform therapy, which has
Yes.
it makes you look very professional, you know, in short. You know.
All in the slides.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
similar like what Teddy said, regenerate, repair. But this one we are talking about reform. Okay.
Reform is also almost like repair,
Yes.
but not quite there.
Yes,
Yes, yes.
similar.
Yes.
So we are all in a preventive versus therapy treatment. We are not treating. Remember, there's one slide that talk about the difference. So we can go back and refer again and again. Medicine and organic, plant-based nutrients and supplements. So all these we are moving into MRT preventive measures to help our friends and families to improve their livelihood and their well-being. That's all. So we are on a...
Remember, in all this sequence of talks, we never said doctors bluffers or no good, don't ever go and see the doctor. Doctors have their purpose.
Yes.
When are really, really ill, we have to see the doctor. Now remember, there are 3 areas of medicine. First is clinical. When we get ill, we go to see the doctor. Clinical, isn't it? They give us some drugs and all that. If we pass through that, well and good. If we don't pass through that, then chances are we will go into invasive. We need an operation. Okay? So when that happens, we will go into rehabilitative. I mean, after the operation, you will need certain physio, whatever, rehabilitative. And if there's amputation, well, that is really serious rehabilitative. So these are the 3 areas. But doesn't mean this is no good. There are cases where we need this, but we go before that. We're going into preventive. We are before these 3 happens, before even clinical happens. Understand? So we never downgrade any one profession. They have their users. Doctors have their users. But the only trouble is a lot of, not only Malaysians, but a lot of people, the Western world are saying, don't worry, I'm okay. If I get sick, I have my good doctor. Right? He just give me some drugs. I'm right and straight. But the underlying causes are there. It's just waiting to explode like a volcano. And that will be very, very serious. Okay?
Okay. I think very good. Everyone has been a very good student tonight. Thank you very much. President Gabriel and Joanne for helping out, supporting us in our learning needs here for the program that I have put in place. But I've also asking you all for your guidance, okay or not, is it the right path? And thank you very much to support the training plan and also being the speaker and trainer. So we look forward to see you again tomorrow to learn more about the products.
Okay.
We should all thank June, right, for being so helpful in terms of strategizing of what needs to be done to have all of us get educated in terms of not only the products, but also the strategy of how all of us, right, can make it within a year to see something substantial. Okay, and then with your kind of environment, the people of your same level coming in and worldwide now, we can do wonders. We can do wonders.
Yeah. Okay.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Isaac, you are so alert.
Nala, you had
Again?
Because the Palace Prime and the Ring are young.
your caviar and your whiskey.
Now, fresh air here, 35%.
Yeah lah, by the sea.
35%. Not 28, 35.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Okay, good night.
Bye.